This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today I'm here with Carré Callaway, also known as Queen Kwong. What was your childhood like growing up in Denver, Colorado?
I didn't have a normal, per se, childhood. I grew up in a hotel. My dad ran a nightclub downtown, so I lived basically between a hotel and a nightclub. So it was pretty interesting. I had a hotel room instead of a regular house or whatever. But I can't complain, you know. It was never boring.
What kind of nightclub did your dad run?
It was a goth punk club.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was around for 20 years in downtown Denver, and it was the first of its kind. It was pretty crazy.
Who did you meet? Because I'm sure a lot of like notables came through there.
Yeah, everyone came through there, from the guys in Skinny Puppy to David J. from Bauhaus, everything. So I was exposed to a lot of different music that way. I was really young. I was a toddler.
Oh,
yeah, really young. And then when I got older, I started bar backing and working there part-time. But those are more on the club nights and stuff. So it was just DJs and stuff like that. But it was a lot of music.
Is your family musical?
My parents aren't musical, and my dad actually was the first in his family to not continue working in the funeral home business. So no musical background there.
Quits working in the funeral home business, but he starts a goth club.
Yeah. I don't know how the connect is.
Cool.
Yeah.
All you need is the what do they call it? The hearse.
Yeah, he had one of those too.
Okay.
He drove one of those too. Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing a connection here because you've said in the past that you were a very angry child. So what caused you to be angry?
I don't think it was one thing. I definitely went through some childhood struggles, I think, that a lot of people go through just growing up in a different kind of setting. My parents were different kind of parents, I guess you'd say. And they were in that kind of club scene, and it wasn't exactly like your ideal domestic setting. So I think I had trouble with adjusting to things like that when I was younger. But now that I'm older, I'm actually grateful for having such an interesting upbringing.
Were you popular in high school?
I was popular in high school. I didn't take high school very seriously. I graduated a couple years early I basically cut every corner I could to get out of high school. Uh-huh. I wasn't, prom queen popular, nothing like that. I did my own thing. I was kind of weird, but I wasn't an outcast. I had a lot of friends and good memories, so.
Were you the cool, mysterious chick that everybody goes to for advice?
I'm not sure how people thought of me. I thought maybe people were just more intimidated by me because I was actually really quiet. So I think people maybe thought, I don't know, maybe I was mysterious. I don't think I'm very mysterious.
So what drove you to pick up guitar?
I played piano for many, many years, and I never really connected with it. And I started writing lyrics and songs when I was really little, and got girls in my grade to sing with me. And then I figured, I guess I should play guitar so we have music to sing to. So I picked up a guitar and started teaching myself, and then I really connected with it, unlike how I felt towards piano. Because I think I was classically trained with piano, so I looked at it differently. And then guitar, I was able to start writing on that instrument. But now I actually have went back and started writing more on piano, so it's kind of funny, full circle.
How did you meet Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails?
Was on the street in New Orleans, on Magazine Street, I believe, when I was a teenager with a friend of mine. We were at a snow cone stand. I believe it was really hot. It was August in New Orleans. And I don't remember who it was at first who I started talking to, but one of his friends. And I ended up going back to the studio to check it out, and his studio was across the street. And he was there, and we ended up talking, and I ended up playing some songs for him, and that's how it started, I guess.
Were you a fan of 9 Inch Nails at that point in your life?
I wasn't a big fan. I really liked the music, but I know that there are really fanatic people towards that kind of music, and I was more into the Stooges and looser kind of music, but I always loved 9 Inch Nails and thought it was brilliant. But yeah, I definitely knew who he was, so I was a fan. But I definitely played it cool. When I met him, I was just like, whatever.
So you were in awe, but you kept it on the inside.
You know, I was the kind of teenager who wasn't really in awe of anything. Mm-hmm. I think I would have been more in awe now, you know, because I would appreciate it more. But I was kind of like a stubborn, hard-headed, you know, cynical teenager. So I met him, and I was just like, well, I play music too. You know, I was just a jerk. But he saw through that, and yeah, we became really good friends.
What advice did Trent Reznor give you about life and about the music biz?
He still continues to give me advice about both. And honestly, he was kind of the first person to ever really believe in what I was doing. So I do take his advice really seriously, and I don't listen to many people, and he's one of the people who I have listened to. Not all the time, but I have listened to him a lot, especially when it comes to the music industry and just staying true to myself. He's notorious for that, and it's really hard to do, especially nowadays, but just not compromising. And, you know, waiting, even though it tests your patience, to wait for the right thing and do the right thing and not do something that you don't feel good about. And it's hard. It's hard. But he's always been a strong advocate of staying true to what you want, you know.
What kind of person is he? For you, when you met him, I mean, a lot of rock stars would want to take advantage of a young, beautiful girl like you who's talented. And, you know, from what I understand, he never tried to do anything like that. So tell me what kind of person he is. He sounds like he's a person of integrity, but you tell me about his personality.
I think integrity really, really is probably the number one character trait I would describe him with. But after living in LA for so long, I've met a lot of other rock stars and celebrities, and none of them have had the integrity that he's had. When I met him, he was a complete gentleman. It was never, you know, everyone assumed that, oh, a rock star and a young girl. It was never like that. We never had that kind of relationship. It was very brotherly. It was familial. So he definitely took me under his wing more than anything. It was really true and genuine. So I really appreciate that. It's rare to find, especially in Hollywood. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you guys get to jam together?
He helped me on a lot of my stuff at first. It was really interesting. It was really hard. And I think at the time, being 17, it was hard for me to take that kind of advice. And now I really do appreciate it. But at the time, having Trent Reznor come and critique my music, you know, it was hard. It was intimidating, but I learned a lot from it.
How did you mentally prepare to open for Nine Inch Nails playing these arenas?
I didn't. I didn't prepare at all, actually, because I was still in that mindset of whatever. You know, I don't really give a fuck, whatever. You know, I've always kind of had that punk rock attitude. So I also, I was a fan of Nine Inch Nails, but I didn't really understand the fan base of Nine Inch Nails. So I didn't really understand what I was getting into the first time. And the first time I opened was the With Teeth tour, and it was just me and a guitar. It wasn't even my guitar. It was his guitar, and it was. At first, I didn't think anything of it, and then when I got on stage, you know, I think right before I got on stage, he walked me onto stage, and he was like, you know, before I got out there, he said, no matter what they throw at you or yell at you, it's good. I love you and you're going to do a great job. I was like, wait, they're going to throw things at me? And then I was kind of pushed onto stage, and it was a mess. It was a disaster. And that's one way to learn a lot of lessons. Wow. The second time I opened for him, I was better prepared, had a band. But it was pretty funny. It's an interesting experience, and it was a little bit traumatic, I'd have to say. Right afterwards, it was just hate emails and, you know, message boards around the world of people just hating me. It was strange. It was a strange realization, but I'm glad I learned it early, I guess you could say.
How much do you feel you grew as a person and a musician from that traumatic experience?
It took me a couple of years to bounce back, actually. I just saw music as something I loved, something I wanted to do. I didn't see myself as a developed, marketable artist. I just saw myself as me playing my music as it was at the time. And to be judged on that kind of level, where here I am still trying to develop, I'm just finding myself in music. I wasn't even writing music I actually felt, that I really liked yet. It was hard to be judged on that level. But after a couple years, it really made me kind of look at myself and what I actually want, and if this is the business I really want to be in, and what kind of an artist I really want to develop into. So it helped me a lot, but it was a long, hard road.
So that was the 2 years that you disappeared and laid in your bed. What years were those?
I think 2006 to 2008 or 2009.
Really?
Yeah.
And then how did you come back?
To be honest, I had a really shitty relationship, and he was a fellow musician, and really it made me look at what I was doing more seriously, and I kind of felt like I had something to prove at that point. It was like, oh, wait, I can do this. I can be this good. I could write a song I like. And because of my personality, I always want to, like, you know, I'm really competitive, and I always like, you don't think I could do this? I can do this, you know? So that's what motivated me. It was just long enough just, you know, being the victim. It was just, it's time to actually step up and see what I'm capable of, I guess.
What inspired the lyrics to the songs? And let's start off with Bitter Lips.
I would say Bitter Lips is a song I wrote out of being in LA, being in some crappy relationships, meeting some crappy people, you know, friendships, boyfriends, whatever, and the disillusionment of, you know, being young and thinking that certain things are important. And I think Bitter Lips was me kind of coming to age with that realization. I think all of my lyrics are really true to myself. Most of them are very emotional for me. And it's either, you know, about emotions I've felt or emotions I've, you know, made other people feel. So I do take my lyrics really seriously. It's actually probably the most important thing about my music to me, I think.
Pet.
Pet's about just wanting to please, just needing to please, just feeling, just please in any level. You know, it's kind of like the parent you can never please, you know, not being able to please yourself, but feeling just like you could just, you know, be owned by somebody and be okay with it. And I think everyone has felt that at some point, has had that person who you've just been like, you know, I would just give up myself, you know, even though it sucks and it's not a good or healthy thing, you know, I'd give up myself to be yours, to please you, you know.
Long Gone.
Long Gone is about fucking people over, about having that power to fuck people over. And unfortunately, I've done it. Everyone does it at some point. And I think it was more of maybe a revenge song. I've written a couple revenge songs, and that's probably one of them. Just, you know, knowing, like, I have that power to fuck you over, so. Well, let me rephrase that. I've fucked people over who have fucked me over.
Okay. Okay. Then is this new song off your forthcoming EP, is it called Bad Lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
This EP I wrote everything, played everything on it, and then had a live drummer come in. But all the initial tracks I recorded in a bathroom in New York City, and it was really low key. And initially, I just recorded all the songs as demos. I didn't really think they'd be anything else. I decided to release them because they're really true to myself. And Bad Lieutenant, the title track, is a song I wrote, and the title, I'm not really sure where it came from. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Bad Lieutenant, the movie, with Harvey Keitel, and for a long time, my screensaver on my computer was a still shot of Harvey Keitel from Bad Lieutenant, like really gross, disturbing shot that, you know, really grossed everyone else out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought it was just funny. And so when I was naming the songs and going through the songs, the screenshot was always, you know, the desktop shot was always Bad Lieutenant. So that's how it came about.
How many songs are going to be on the EP?
There's going to be 5 songs. A couple of them, like Bad Lieutenant, started on piano. I wrote on piano and bass. There's a song called Ike Turner that was just guitar. Added drums to at the last minute. Very simple, couple minutes. It was a joke song, another revenge song. So that one I feel really strongly about too. But all of them kind of show a variety of what I've been doing. And it's kind of like a mellower side of me. I think a lot of my fans who have seen me live are going to find the EP interesting because it's just me in a bathroom, basically. It's not like the balls to the wall punk rock, you know. It's very stripped down and low key.
I love the drum sound And you need to keep that bass sound, that gung 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 gung. You need to keep that.
I'm huge into bass. I love playing bass.
Me too.
Yeah, I love playing bass. I love writing on bass. It's very primal.
It is.
Yeah, so I got a great drummer, the Hayden Scott from AWOL Nation. He played on the EP. And he actually played to my program drums. So I programmed the drums I wanted, and he came in and just made them come alive. And it was really heavy and a lot of fun, and it really brought up the EP to the next level.
I like your heavy sound. I think it's important that your sound there's a lot of space in it.
Yeah.
Even though it's heavy, it's not crowded.
It's funny because it took me a while to simplify my music and see it on a more simple level. I started out writing folk music, and it was all like, oh, I want to show off the finger picking and put all the lyrics I can into one song, and it's just tiring and unnecessary. I think I think space actually kind of creates more emotion and creates more tension. So I'm just more into heavier sounds right now and trying to be simple but heavy.
Do you consider yourself a control freak?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's taken me a while to kind of relinquish a little control, just because you can't control everything in your life. But I am a control freak, and I like things my way, and there's a reason why I've written everything. But I also am really open to ideas. So if I do like something and I do like a suggestion and I do want to work with somebody, I'm very open and actually easy to work with. But when I'm set on something, I like it how I like it. I like my band how I like them to play. The guys in my band are great because I am not easy on them, and I like things a certain way. So, but I try to stay open-minded. I think that's important.
Richard Gotterer, he produced the Go-Go's. He's
Blondie.
and Blondie, everybody. The guy is the man. Is he your manager still?
Yeah. Richard Gotterer is my manager. I have two managers, he and his partner, Scott Cohen. And he's great. He's a legend. He's worked recently with the Dum Dum Girls, who are also managed by them, and the Ravenettes. And he is a great personality, great guy. He gives me a hard time. I think my music's a lot more aggressive and dirty and nastier than he's used to. But I kind of like that dynamic, having him challenge me and me challenge him. But I definitely have hurt his ears many times, I'm sure.
Well, I was going to say, being a control freak and then having a manager that's like this incredible, successful producer, you'd think a lot of times he would go,
He has.
You need a bridge here. You need to sing in this key here. Of course.
Mm-hmm. He has. And I haven't worked with him in the studio. He hasn't produced anything of mine. I think we have our own opinions and our own tastes. And I don't like a lot of the things he likes. He doesn't like most of the things I like. But I take his opinions still really seriously. And he's a great songwriter. He has great ideas. And I think that as I develop as a recording artist, that we'd be able to find a place to meet. But yeah, he's said many times, I have a song, Ike Turner, on the EP that he did not approve of. Okay. He did not approve of the lyrics, thought they were rude, and I thought they were hilarious. And I just said, you're just going to have to suck it up for this one.
Okay.
So, but it's a good relationship, and it's fun.
What is your greatest fear?
Failure.
Do you live by the precepts of sex, drugs, and rock and roll? And if so, do they own you or do you own them?
Wow. I think throughout my life, the last 10 years, yes, I would say one of those things has always been there. Rock and roll is the constant, common denominator with everything. And I'd like to say I own it, but it definitely owns me, I think, at this point. Just can't shake it, that need for it. So I don't know.
How would you define the word love?
I mean, I could just think of what comes up for me when I think of the word love, and that's unconditional. I think love really should be unconditional, no matter what. I think I've learned that.
Are you a spiritual person?
I can't say I am. I think as I get older, I look to be more of a spiritual person, just to find that within myself. But that hasn't been something that's been important to me, no.
What do you think of Christianity?
I would have to say Not a fan, not a believer. And at this point, I think it's doing more harm than good in the world, organized religion and religious beliefs. I think that at the base of all religions, it's based on good intentions. But realistically speaking, and how religion has affected people throughout the world and the conflicts it's caused, I kind of take the Christopher Hitchens approach. I'm pretty anti-religion and not a believer.
What brings you the most peace in your life right now?
Honestly, I'd have to say my cats. Just coming home, being with my cats, waking up with my cats. I'm a huge animal fan, and I think animals really, really can affect the human psyche and energy. And I've had very, very, very low points in my life, and I'd have to say my cats are just a very calming, they have calming spirits, and they're all very interesting in their own ways and add to my life in their own ways. So I'm a big animal fan.
Favorite sex symbol?
Iggy Pop.
Okay, that's a good one. You know, because most people are like, oh, dude, I can't answer that question. I can't think of somebody.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite new bands that are out there right now?
Wow. There was a band I just saw at South by Southwest called the Heartless Bastards. Reminded me a little bit of Lucinda Williams.
Okay.
Great band. And then I saw another band called Vampire, and I thought they were really cool too. They had an eclectic set and did a lot of different things. And this is not a new band, but Eagles of Death Metal, I'm friends with those guys. I saw them at South by Southwest too, and I like that rock is still existing in some form. I think it's making a little bit of a comeback. Vampire definitely rocked out in their set, so it's exciting to see that.
What's next for you?
Releasing the EP is next for me.
Label or self?
It will be on a label,
Okay.
and then a U.S. tour.
Do you have anything to say to your fans?
I just want to thank them for being so patient. I have taken a lot of time to develop and get my shit together, and I've had great fans who have been there nonstop, that unconditional kind of love and support, and it really has been what's kept me going a lot of times, so I'm really appreciative.
What do you think of the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show?
I love you guys. This is fun.
It's been great having you on the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show. Blairing Out with Eric Blair with Carré Callaway, also known as Queen Kwong, signing off.
The Blairing Out Show.